The Fassi F1300 loader crane has a maximum lift capacity of 25 tonnes and a maximum reach of 32 metres. This model of it is mounted on a Mercedes-Benz Actros chassis and comes in a Fassi branded box. It's a similar type of box to other WSI truck models and there's no information about the real machine. It is factory sealed and after some careful knife work you can lift the lid and pull out the various parts. These consist of the truck with its loader crane fitted, and there's also a separate fly jib extension which can be fitted. The other thing in the box is a small bag of parts which contains some outrigger pads and some pins. But wait, there's a surprise. As if by magic, an instruction manual drops out of the bottom of the box. So let's take a look at the manual, and it's always good to have. It's a two-sided affair and it describes the main ways that you can configure the loader crane. It's a generic sheet to cover any WSI Fassi loader crane model. The truck chassis is a typically detailed WSI model. This one's an 8x4 with all the transmission and suspension modelled and different tyres on the front and rear axles. They are mounted on smart looking wheels which look good. The cab has got beacon lights on the roof, the headlights have got lenses, and it's nice to see Mercedes-Benz embossed in the casting. At the rear of the truck the wheel arches are metal, and at the rear the lights look good and there's a usable towing hitch. As this is a generic vehicle there's just a Fassi number plate. The loader crane outrigger beams are free-stage with warning graphics, and the smooth piston rams bear down on detailed pads. The outriggers at the rear of the truck are similar with even more detailed pads with lifting handles. The overall impression of the loader crane is that it's a very detailed part. The synthetic oil tanks look really good with hoses coming out, and there are very many tiny graphics which are more indicative than legible. The telescopic boom sections all appear to be thin wall metal and they're nicely made. And that continues through to the fly jib, where as a modelling compromise due to 150 scale, the final sections are not telescopic. As usual, we'll start with the road test first, and the truck rolls along in a straight line okay. The rear wheels share common axles and turn together. And as usual for WSI, although the modelling of the front axles is accurate, the compromise is that the steering mechanism only has a very limited range of movement. Anyway, something's better than nothing, so it will trace out a very shallow curve. The other feature that's implemented is a tilting cab, but the engine's a bit shy on this model because it doesn't really want to be seen. Oh well, we'll go to the other end then, where the fifth wheel is adjustable so you can fit a variety of trailers. So to test that out, here we'll fit a Denison trailer. And of course it's slightly tricky to hook in the kingpin because the adjustable fifth wheel wants to move. So to get around that, one way to try and do it is to hook up the trailer side on and use a finger on the fifth wheel to prevent it moving while you hook the trailer in. If you achieve that, you can then pull back the fifth wheel using the trailer. And the result is already an impressive looking model with the Fassi crane. And the trailer's perfectly functional too because of the adjustable fifth wheel. Having a trailer means you can have a load, and what can be better than a couple of tower crane sections to produce something that looks good. Enough truck stuff, let's have a go at the loader crane. So to set it up we pull out the front outriggers, and there's a neat bit of micro engineering because they're actually pinned in the upright position so they don't flap about. With the pin out you can then just rotate them through 180 degrees till they point in the downward position. Lowering the pistons just makes use of the usual screw mechanism, and nice smooth pistons emerge with no unsightly screw threads. Once it's extended you can then just add the small pads that WSI provide, and it's just a loose fit on the end of the piston. It's pretty much the same process at the rear end of the truck where the outrigger beams are two-stage, and again the pistons just get screwed down and separate round pads get fitted at the end. Also included with the model are some small square pads which have little handles. And I guess if you want you can put those under the main pads, but I'm not really sure what they add. Okay, so here's the truck with the legs akimbo, so now we can get the loader crane up and working. The hydraulic rams that control the movement of the main articulated sections are very stiff, but they're not smooth either, they're actually quite jerky in action. But I suppose that's better than if they were too weak and flopping all over the place. With the boom up a bit, we can rotate the crane around and it rotates fully and you can point it in any direction. Extending the telescopic boom sections is easy because they're smooth in action. But there's also a degree of friction so they don't try and close up of their own accord. And it's therefore possible to pose the model with the boom at quite a steep angle. There's also enough stiffness in the main rams to be able to hold a pretty reasonable load at the end of the hook. And you can certainly produce some very interesting poses with this model. There is another configuration option which is to fit the optional luffing fly jib. And to do that you have to unhook and remove the final boom section. And then replace it with the fly jib which has its own final boom section attached. With the fly jib attached, a different range of posing possibilities emerge. And it's interesting to be able to display the crane in an up and over configuration. But I can hear you all shouting, how high does it go? So let's get the tape measure out, and to the top of the fly jib you get a height of roughly 54 centimeters or 21 inches. With the fly jib attached you do have quite a bit more equipment at the end of the boom. But despite that and all the intricacies of scale modelling, it's still possible to fold this boom up fully and then display it properly on the truck with the boom fully folded. And all things considered, that's always an impressive modelling achievement. This loader crane from Fassi adds a very nice dimension to a truck model. It certainly puts the heavy into heavy haulage, and this model is detailed with good functionality. It will look very good when it appears on future company trucks because it's an outstanding model.